Hello again. So I just wanted to share something with you. I was sitting over here just chatting with someone in Messenger, and I wanted to send some energy to them. And whenever I was evoking to send some energy to that person, I realized that we were in a shamanic frequency kind of day. And what that means is that there are certain days when the throat and the heart are very active and not really any of the other chakras or any of the activations are. And I know that that's when like the shamanic frequency of the earth is being raised. Like that's what comes into my consciousness. Well, something that started a really long time ago with me is becoming a human pendulum. And today it's doing it really strongly in this moment. And I just wanted to show you what it looks like. Okay, so. Like, and so I spin clockwise while it's waiting for me to ask a question. And so I was playing around with it. And I was asking, I said, is today Tuesday? And I rock back and forth when it's no. And then it starts spinning clockwise again. And then when I ask it a yes question, it spins in clockwise. Is today Wednesday? I mean, it's like spinning different ways. So, it's not something that I totally have fine-tuned yet, but it goes back and forth for no, and then it goes one or the other ways for yes. Usually it goes clockwise for yes and counterclockwise for just sitting there hovering. And so it's very interesting how there are specific days when that is much stronger, or that that I'm conscious of it on certain days, and other times it just doesn't happen. And it's been a really long time since that has happened. So, yeah, it's pretty neat. I mean, I think that just if you want to give it a shot yourself, I mean, I just was sitting there just for a second to clear the space and evoke so that I could send energy. And then all of a sudden I started spinning. And so I wanted to share that with you because, yeah, exactly, Doug. That's exactly right. So it's really cool. We have the energy and magic that we don't even begin to realize. And so that's why it's really cool when we just shut out the outside world and listen to what our channel tells us. Because, through this process and all of these wild energy things that are happening with me, I know I've shared some of the entity casting videos and stuff with you all. I don't have a handbook. No one's picking up the phone and saying, hey, Lori, this is what you're going through and I'm going to help you through it. And so I just stay grounded and let each day show me more of the abilities that we are evolving into. Like, my abilities I've noticed that a lot of people have very different abilities. And mine, there seems to be a lot of them. And they are enhanced, and I'm shown new ways of how they work with each ascension, with each surge in energy, or whatever it is that we're receiving, because the downloads and the upgrades that we receive are specific to a collective, but they're specific to each individual because we all have a different program that we're running on. Some of us are being upgraded on the same frequency, which means we were activated in the same timeline because it all comes in a progression. Not everyone wakes up at once. Not everyone is receiving the energy, and not everyone is going to wake up. So it's just a matter of recognizing our own individualities and learning to enhance those things. Like a lot of people, or not a lot, I shouldn't say that. There have been times when people have stepped in when I was talking about things that have been going on with me in a light that did not resonate with what I'm being channeled. And so, it's important to take what people say with a grain of salt, because no one is experiencing exactly what I'm experiencing, because I have my own energetic flow of my vessel that gauges how I feel about everything that I'm experiencing. And so it's very different for everyone. So just because someone tells you something, it doesn't necessarily mean that that is your program. Because, while I'm starting to see that more and more of us are aligning with sort of the same things, it just seems like everything is still just so vastly different. And that's because it really is. And so, just like with the entity that's with me, the possession that took place in June, in June, a lot of people will tell me like, oh, be careful because of this possession and this entity that's with you. But this entity isn't causing me any harm. This entity is here to assist myself and others. And so, it all depends on the program. Somebody probably could have had a bad experience with an entity possession, but I feel as though we attract the vibration that we are vibrating at. Because I can tell you this, at this point in my life, there is no dark entity that will remain in this vessel, because I'm that aware and that in tune with my energetic cues of my emotions. And so when we realize that this human experience is way more than just getting upset or happy with each other, we can understand that, like, it's amazing. It's magic. And everybody's psychic. Everybody has abilities. Everybody has their own thing. You just have to reach that frequency to be activated to turn it on. So if you're not in tune with your abilities in this moment, just keep working on what you're doing and you'll get there, because every human has it. Every human. And it all depends on the frequency that we're vibrating at. If someone's had a lot of illness, someone's had a lot of trauma or injury to their bodies, their energetic flow, we don't know. I mean, there's so many reasons that can hinder and alter the flow of someone's body. So it's really, it gets deep on a molecular level when it comes to our activations, because our DNA is being rewritten. We're literally, cellular regeneration is happening at such a much higher rate if you're receiving these activations, if you're feeling it. I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so, yeah, it's just recognizing our energetic pulls, and, the abilities run, they just seem to be so vast. Like for me, I don't get a lot of visuals. I mean, I talk to some of you who talk to me like you see a TV screen in your mind that are just showing you these images and these visions and these premonitions and these channeled thoughts. And my program is not like that at all. Like, I literally stopped remembering dreams like 12 years ago. Like, I'd never, ever remember my dreams. There's been a few times that I've had dreams over the years, maybe 5 or 6. And I've had a few visions that were travels. But it just, boom, one day. And also one thing that happened a long time ago is I stopped having deja vu also. Like, I don't have deja vu anymore. And I feel like it's because I have joined the parallel. So it's like it's like the hologram. It's almost like I've met myself on the other side, so I'm not experiencing deja vu as if I was there anymore, because I feel like I've caught up to myself on the other side of the veil, if that makes sense. Because that's what happens in a sense. Like, when we activate ourselves and we become this magical vibrating creature, I mean, that's really coming home. And so then it's just learning how to use those tools and deal with other humans that aren't on that frequency. And so with my program, the way that I receive my wisdom is through thought. Two ways. I am channeled stuff in my mind that sounds like it's in my own voice, but it's not me. You know the difference whenever you get quiet, move out the humanistic stuff. The spirit agrees too, apparently. And so for me, and the other thing is like, I can read energy really, really well, like on a level that's wild. I pick up, and it's not like I'm reading it. It's just who I am. As I'm with someone, it's like I'm automatically being fed information by the things that by what you say, the words that you use, the tone of the words that you use, the way that you move your hands, the way that you use your eyes, everything. It's like, wow, it's really spectacular. My channel's very honed into that. And so I can pick up vibrations in people at an insane level. And I know that a lot of you do too. And that's why we have to understand that that's why the outside world can hurt when we're dealing with other people, because we don't realize we're being pulled. And every time that we interact with a human, like our energy is pulling on, or is receiving that person's pull. And so when you're around a bunch of people whose frequencies are not aligned, they pull a lot. And I know you know what I'm talking about. Like, it can be a struggle. So that's why I spend a lot of time alone, and I have for quite some time now. I've always kind of been a lone wolf, but I've always been much more outgoing than I have been over the last year and a half since I've activated and become very, very sensitive to energy now. And so, I can read humans at a very high level, and I'm channeled things. And also another thing that I've noticed about my program is that I have a lot of knowledge about a lot of things, but I don't have a lot of information about those things, because the way that my channel works is I almost have like a photographic memory, that when I'm thumbing through online or Facebook or things that come to me, my mind literally takes snapshots of information, and then I'm on to the next thing. So for me, it's like I don't need to research a whole bunch of information. I just am pulled to the information I need to give me the answers. And so therefore I'm able to translate those to the outer world. And so it's very interesting. So a lot of people want a lot of explanations. They have a lot of questions. They want a lot of answers for things. And, I can answer a lot of questions, but I can't give a lot of details because I've simplified my program has been simplified. We don't need a lot of information when we have trust. And trust is very valuable. And it's much bigger than trusting another human. It's trusting your channel, your thoughts. And those are the thoughts that are not influenced by other humans. That is where the magic is, listening to the thoughts that aren't influenced by other humans. When we get that intuitional pop, that channeled information of clarity, and humans, a lot of times we won't act on that. We let the outside other human conditioning form our decisions for us, and then we end up choosing not authentically to who we are. And so whenever you start to listen to your intuition and you start acting on those first initial thoughts instead of fear, that is when we start to manifest the visions that we see for ourselves. I mean, seriously, like the first thoughts we have are from our channel. They're guided to tell us what to do within the visions we've already seen for ourselves. Like for me, I've always felt the pull to get, well, I haven't always. I've always wanted to help people. I've always been I always like to volunteer and things like that throughout my life. But when I started making the cannabis oil out of the blue, I didn't use cannabis for 15 years. I just want you to know. And then just like 2 years ago, when I was getting sober off of all of the other drugs I was on, I started using cannabis. And then all of a sudden I started making cannabis oil. And so I started seeing that, wow, this is my purpose. And so once I started to see why it was my purpose and that it heals humans and that it heals animals and that it heals, adults and children and everything. Did you know that hemp creates more oxygen than trees do? So that plant is everything that actually humans need and more. I mean, all the way down to making textiles, clothes, and things like that. That's what we use hemp for. And so, I started to see that that was part of my calling, and then I started waking up, and it was just this whole last 2 years has been incredible. But, because I saw that that's what I wanted to do with my life, of course, I didn't know I'd end up in San Francisco doing all of this with all of you watching me right now. But I knew that there was a higher calling, and so I just stayed on that path. If something told me this is something that's going to heal you and others, go there, I went there instead of letting fear or my subconscious mind programming of not being motivated or whatever, being in a rut and not doing anything. I started to follow my intuition instead of the old ways that I have always done things. And now I'm here with you. And so it's really amazing, it's really amazing when we learn just to have patience and to work toward the visions. Like I'm preaching to the choir to myself when I tell you that I have to really ground my energy. The visions I've had of the future, of the things that we can create, come in so fast and so strong that it swirls me around and I feel very overwhelmed. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do with all this? And it's because I see that it can all work. It can all make money in abundance for people, and it can heal people, like across the board. Like, money's not bad if we use it properly. And so when we get away from thinking that money's evil and blah, 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 you got to stop thinking that way. Think about money in the way that can cause you to create greatness, and you will receive more money. It might not be $1,000, but it may be $20 you find on the side of the road. And that's a sign that you're on your way. That's how I've seen it. And it's been pretty amazing. We've got a ways to go with what we're doing, but the brand that we're creating with Herb Frequency and the platform that we're creating is for the collective. Like, I'm already on the idea, like, if I'm going to create a cryptocurrency for the collective. Like, when I have a vision, I go all the way. And it's because I have all of you in my heart. And when we have other people in our heart while we give to ourselves, it's a gift that keeps on giving. And it's cool. It's cool. So back to what I was talking about our abilities. If you feel it in your soul, then that is you telling you. That's your channel telling you that that's your vision, that's your goal, that's your life. And it's okay. And, it's really about just listening to your inner voice and taking what other people say for a minute to see if it resonates, but not to attach. Because what other people say, it's just a tool for us to learn from. It's either their perception or something that we need to take a look at. And so it's really important just to recognize that and not take everything so personal from other people. Because in this journey of ascension, we want to shout to the world and spread all this greatness. And it really is all in the way that we portray the frequency that we want to receive back. So if people aren't hearing you, choose another tone to get your message across. And, try different words. Instead of telling people you should, you need to, like, instead of saying trying or hope, like, changing words like I am initiating, or I am activating to, or I am drawing into me, or I am working toward. When we try is, if you're doing it, you're not trying. So you don't need to say try. Like, we don't realize that certain things that we say are trap words. And, when we get in the business of telling other people what to do, it just doesn't really work. That's why it works really great to shine your own light, and then you'll see the attraction that happens. That's when we meet our soul tribe. That's when we can come together to create great business for other people, because we're the ones that are changing things. We're being assisted, and we are assisting to change things. here in the United States and all over the globe. So it's cool. So just be strong and stay strong. And even when you're not, remember that you are. I love you.